compliance with Chapter 231 Public Law 1975 entitled Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. As specified in the Act, proper notice of this public meeting was provided in the notice of January 5th, 2017. Said notice was posted at the entrance of the Board of Education offices, mailed to the Nutley Township Clerk, advertised in the Nutley Sun and Star Ledger on January 12th, 2017, posted on the district website. This is an official meeting. Flag salute. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Cruiser.
Mr. Balsamo?
Here.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin? Here. Mr. Ferraro?
Here.
Mr. Klein?
Here.
Mr. Kaczynski?
He's here.
Ms. Russo? Here. Mrs. Scalera?
Here.
Ms. Sherman?
Here.
Mr. Carnicella?
Here. Can we have approval of minutes, please?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Do we have any correspondence? Okay. We're going to start off with our presentations for the evening. First presentation that we have up is our water lead testing results. That's going to be done by our Buildings and Grounds Director, Mr. Philip McClatchy.
Good evening. Nutley Board, from my department, is required by the state to complete water testing of all water outlets that are used for drinking and purposes in the schools. 183 outlets were tested. Of the 183, 13 came back with a problem. Of the 13, 7 of them existed in the school. 3 of them were slop sinks down in boiler rooms that drinking water doesn't come out of. Basically, drinking water comes out, but we don't use for drinking water. The way the tests are done, they come in and the point of entry into the building is their first sample. That was the slop sinks, which are in the back of the boiler rooms that haven't been used that often. Lincoln School, Washington School, the boiler rooms no longer exist as they did. They're basically storerooms. Radcliffe School had the most, 7. In Radcliffe School, for those of you that are familiar with Radcliffe School, there are sinks and water fountains in almost every classroom. The cause for lead in the water is from solder joints, pipes decaying. These units were found to be bad. We're in the process of correcting them. By the middle of September, we'll have everything retested again. The results will be posted not only on the website, but kept in a binder in the school, in the main office, as we do with the asbestos. All documentation must be sent to the state for approval. The testing, as it took place, was on a Saturday morning, so the school was in function all day Friday. The people that took the test were aqua testing labs. All the samples, all the documentation, all the chain of custody, everything according to the state plans will be posted on the website. So basically, we were not in bad shape. Effort.
So just a question, the ones, especially the drinking fountains that failed, do we have them turned off?
They're all done. Anything that came back, 13 units have been disconnected. Okay, and again, it's just a matter of how much work was accomplished over this summer that we did not get back to.
No, as long as they're off right now is my concern.
To even more of an upgrade, Washington School, with the board approval, we're putting in 6 new water fountains. Each one of these new water fountains have a tighter composite water filter. So there'll be even less of a chance of a problem with contaminants or lead. High school, the 2 fountains that were bad in the high school, one was in a small locker room that they used for visiting teams, volleyball, the girls' volleyball side, and the other was in the hallway, which is an older fountain which was scheduled to be replaced this summer anyway. Basically, we did not do bad. There was no violations in this building, and as most of you know, this building was all repiped in 2008, the referendum. That's where we stand with the water.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Ken, so Janine,
Yes.
do you want to introduce our curriculum presentations?
Absolutely.
We'd like to take a few minutes to introduce Brooke Benavides. She's our ELA coordinator here in district. And we wanted to talk a little bit about the process that she underwent to get to this point.
Just a little bit about the process. This is the final stage of our program review cycle. It started last fall when Ms. Benavides, along with faculty and staff and parents and students, as well as an external consultant, reviewed the English department. They came up with recommendations, and that led to needs, resource needs, and curricular needs. We structured curriculum writing to engage as many teachers as possible. We shifted it from during the day to after school and summer work, where we had volunteers come forward to write curriculum in small groups. It took them about 3 or 4 months with Ms. Benavides steering the ship, meeting with them, and we're very proud to let her show you all the work she put in her curriculum. So thank you so much, and then we'll introduce James after you're done. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. I'm really thrilled to be here tonight to speak with you about our new exciting changes to the ELA curriculum. 4 months ago, as Mr. Bain has said, we began rewriting our curriculum. This wasn't just a revision. We literally started from the ground up on this, K-12, and our goal was to ensure that we wrote a balanced curriculum so that there's a continuum and we're really supporting the balanced literacy approach. Within that approach, we want to make sure that our students have authentic experiences in both reading and writing. And within that balance, not only will they have authentic experiences in reading and writing, but they will have choice. They will have voice, but so will our teachers. And it's finding the balance between the two. So in our new curriculum, you will see an integration of different genres. We have fiction and nonfiction. Some of our fiction units include a dystopian unit. We have a historical fiction unit. We have narrative nonfiction for some of our nonfiction work. We even have at the lower level some lab reports and some really exciting nonfiction work. And when we think about it, our goal is by the time our students graduate, we want them to have exposure to a multitude of genres that can open their minds as they think about their future and the careers that they might want to take on as they move forward from Nutley. So within that exposure to different genres, they're also going to have different text types. Some of our units are really exciting. Students are going to be doing meaningful things. We thought about authentic experiences. What would kids need to do when they leave our schools? And we want to expose them to a lot of different things. We have some units where there are TED Talks or podcasts, or they're creating authentic, real-world, tangible pieces. And they're going to have a choice and a voice, as I said, in that. Oops, that wasn't good. Sorry. So within our curriculum, we're following district policy as far as what the curriculum includes. Every unit starts with a scope and sequence. That's for every grade level. And of course, it's standards-based. So we're thinking about the New Jersey Student Learning Standards. We used backwards design as we thought about this, so we're thinking with the end in mind. And teachers are going to easily navigate it because when they read the unit, they'll start by thinking about the rationale and summary, focusing on the goal. What do we want students to know and be able to do by the end of the unit? And then they can use a differentiated approach in order to help our students get to that goal. There are essential questions, enduring understanding goals, and teaching points that are all in alignment. I will show you an example of that. And we have new common assessments. This is probably the most exciting part, is that our units and assessments are in alignment. So all the work we're doing, students will have an opportunity for application and it will be directly connected to the work of the unit. We also have resources and different technological tools that we're providing for the teachers. In addition to a multitude of new resources that we purchase through the district funds, we actually put hyperlinks directly in the documents. Mrs. Loconsolo, Mr. Bania, Dr. Glazer, all of us worked on this with our team. We actually had a team of 30 teachers, 15 at the elementary level, 5 at the middle level, 10 at the high school level. It was a tremendous experience. It really was the full support of the district, and we were able to produce the documents that we're going to be sharing with our teachers this year. So this is a sample scope and sequence from grade 2. I apologize, the little Y slipped down there for elementary. But if we're looking, you can see the balance between reading and writing, and we also have word study. We have 120 minutes of instructional time in English language arts. So what we want our teachers to do is give students experience in reading, writing, and word study every day. So at the elementary, what that means is teachers will be in a reading unit and a writing unit at the same time. If you look across here, you can see in Unit A, they're in second grade reading growth spurt as their launching reading workshop. They're also going to be looking at lessons from the Masters Improving Narrative Crafts, so there's a little bit of a narrative connection there. As they move forward, there's some reading nonfiction as they're becoming experts. They're also going to be writing a how-to guide on nonfiction. We want students to be immersed in reading and writing with this really nice crossover that gives them opportunities to apply reading experiences to writing and vice versa. And you can see that through all our units. All of our elementary units have anywhere from 5 to 6 units in reading and 5 to 6 units through writing across the year. And for word study, K4, we are still utilizing Words Their Way, which is our word study program. When we were writing these units, we utilized the Lucy Calkins units of study to unpack the curriculum, but we also added our own spin. We thought about what do we really want our students to know and be able to do, and we added in some ideas for differentiation so that it's not just about whole class. We also want our teachers to be able to plan for small group and individual instruction as well. This is a sample from some of the goal work we did. We started with the goal in mind. This sample says readers will take charge of their reading. We turned that into a question. How do readers take charge of their reading? And then the enduring understanding really is what we hope our students will know by the end. Well, how will they take charge? By making choices, reading with purpose, and understanding. And then all of our teaching points, this is really powerful because if we have students in different elementary buildings and they move from place to place, or teachers can engage in discourse about the curriculum, everyone's in the same place. They're writing their lessons from here. These are all the objectives. Everyone is clear on what it means, where to go, and we also have a supportive tool on how to implement it, and we'll be utilizing some professional development consistently throughout the year in order to ensure this is successful. High school doesn't look much different. We've been, over the past couple of years, moving to reading and writing workshop, infusing elements at the middle school level, and now we're infusing elements at the high school level as well. We have teachers that are using interactive read-alouds and book clubs, and actually from grade 2 through 12, you will see book club units within all of our curricula documents for reading. A book club is a small opportunity for students to have a choice in what they're reading, to have a conversation with groups, and have a lot more independence, and they're really in the driver's seat as far as student ownership. For our high school and middle school units, so 7 through 12, we have 8 units. We're looking pretty much at 2 per marking period, 1 reading and 1 writing. This is exciting work because in the past we've typically only had reading units that have writing in really as a part of that unit or an end result. Now we have writing units where we're really going to be immersing kids in the writing process. What do real writers do? What does that writing work look like? Wow, that author wrote that, maybe I can try that. And we're going to be infusing this idea of mentor text, where we study the work of either professional authors or student authors, and then we emulate that in our writing. And it's really powerful. If somebody were to say to you, and a couple of you have heard this, can you write a feature article for me? I would say, well, can I see a feature article? What does a feature article look like? So instead of assigning writing to our students, we want our students to be inquisitive, to utilize inquiry. And that is really embedded into all of our curricular documents. And we will be supporting our teachers, again, at the secondary level with PD, specifically focused on writing this year. This is pretty exciting work. So our freshman unit, just to give you a little snapshot, we have some narrative nonfiction book clubs at the beginning of freshman year where they will then write their own narrative nonfiction pieces. We are moving to a little bit of a freshman seminar type style in our second marking period that's infused in research. Students will be choosing what they want to research, picking topics, and then writing argument research papers at the end in their writing unit. We then move into another book club on historical fiction book clubs, and then students will then choose a topic that interests them in their historical fiction books, and then move into a writing unit where they're able to do some research and some writing in an informational text on that. And then finally at the end of the year, they'll be reading one text, a whole class novel that the teacher will select, and reading it from multiple lenses. This is crucial for us. Not only does it allow that balance, but if we think about our freshmen coming in, we want them to transition well to Nutley High School, and we've included that transition into this curriculum. If you look, this looks very similar to grade 2. All of our documents were written in that same parallel formula, and it's just a little bit more intense because the work's harder and more complex at that level. So why is this going to benefit the students here in Nutley? Number one, it's really not one size fits all anymore. We're allowing for differentiation. These are flexible documents. Teachers are able to navigate them based upon what their students need, and they're using the pacing in order to do it within the allotted time frame. They also promote student choice, book clubs, partnerships, student-selected writing experiences, and it promotes thinking and discovery. We want our students talking. We want them accountable. We want them throwing their ideas out in the air. We actually have embedded into most of our documents lessons for speaking, for listening, and our language standards, we have vocabulary and word study infused into our reading, and we have grammar infused into our writing. So it's really fully comprehensive within the standards. And finally, it values and supports student growth. There's feedback written directly into a lot of these documents, even at the high school level. What does feedback look like throughout the process? How do we give feedback to our students? And that's really at the crux of becoming a better reader and a writer, is knowing what you do well and then knowing what you need to do next. So that's really included. And as I said, we will be supporting our teachers with some professional development. And at the secondary level, I just want to give a little shout out to our PD developer, Dr. Gravity Goldberg, who helped us with some of our mapping. She was a tremendous help at the secondary level. We are making some changes here in Nutley that not a lot of other high schools are doing, as we are bringing this balanced literacy approach up to the secondary level. I'm so proud of the work of our teachers. I want to thank them, thank all of the administrators here. It's been a phenomenal go, and I'm really stoked to get started on the work this September, so thank you.
I want to thank Brooke and her team. They did a great job. It was our first program review, Jean and I coming into the positions, and we're excited to get started with our next year of program reviews. We're starting World Language ESL, guidance, as well as math. The department will go through program review starting in September, so we're looking to repeat the process. So thank you so much. The other department we have for you tonight is a result of the shift in our high school schedule. As you know, we're moving schedules to a rotating drop schedule, and that is providing a lot of opportunities for our students. It provides more choices, more classes, and to meet up with that demand, we opened courses in many departments, but the biggest one was the CTE department and Dr. Riley's department. So toward the end of last year, we had the task of creating curriculum for new courses, not coming from program review, but coming from new courses to Nutley High School, or courses we're bringing back to Nutley High School. So he's going to come up and talk about the process of creating programming as well as the curriculum documents for those courses. So we want to thank him. He did a great job as well, and we're looking forward to new programming at the high school. Thanks so much.
So as Mr. Gainey said, thank you for having me back. I'm here to introduce the new courses for tonight. We were actually not scheduled to be in program review, but because of the move to block scheduling, we recognize this as a unique opportunity to bring back courses that are relevant for 21st century learning for our students, and that would give them unique opportunities moving forward into their university study. So some of the new, one of the biggest areas in which we're introducing new courses is in the business area. What we had was some singleton courses, great courses, but they weren't sequenced through and really didn't give our students an opportunity to have the experiences they needed to go forward in studying business. So now what we're going to have is a sequenced course of business, starting with an introduction to business and financial management, moving on through a marketing sequence. Entrepreneurship, we're not running this year, but I wanted to point out that it is the next level. So we have upper level classes, and then all the way through up to a market research honors class. So what that will do is a couple of things. It's going to sequence the kids through for kids for whom they're really interested in marketing, really interested in business, might be pursuing that at the university level. It's also going to qualify us for additional Perkins funding. So many of the things and initiatives that I wanted to bring into the district, I wanted to also find a way to fund those things. And that's certainly one of them. We're also offering accounting, and then 2 half-year courses, Fundamentals of Business and Personal Law and Fundamentals of Investment Management. Those courses will be paired with a financial literacy half-year course, which is a state requirement. So again, you'll see a few other half-year courses that we're going to introduce, and again, this is an opportunity to capitalize on the move to the block schedule, where half-year courses might be a good opportunity for kids to be exposed to additional materials. In terms of our fine art courses, last year you'll recall I was standing in front of you and talking about graphic design and some new initiatives we had there in digital photography. This year we're expanding both in the upper level and the lower level courses, giving students more choice and opportunity. So here with the introduction to digital media and design, it's giving our students the opportunity to have a more entry-level experience to prepare them better for the digital photography classes and digital classes that we're offering. We also have an upper-level graphic design class that's going to include graphic design and animation. Because we have so many students well above the state average of students who go on to study art at very fine art institutes around the country, we're able to fill these classes. And also here, again, as I referenced, some half-year courses, Survey of Theater and Theater Arts. We're really excited about this because while we have a wonderful theater programs, last year I came to you and we started the fall production. We've always had a wonderful spring production. We never really had any curriculum to support that, and we're very excited this year to offer that. In terms of industrial arts, we have an introduction to industrial arts class that's going to give additional students an opportunity to get involved with hands-on practical application. It's a great opportunity for students in special education, some autistic students that are going to be get in there, some life skills, and be able to stay in the district rather than having to go out of the district to get those opportunities. We're also offering an additional course in music, the history of popular music. One of the things that's unique about this course, and it's basically a survey of popular musics from right before Elvis all the way to the present day. So you can see what a great opportunity that is going to be to talk about and connect with English language arts, to connect with history and talk about the social, political, economic trends that were going on from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and then how that manifests itself through the arts. One of the unique things about this too is that it's going to be a survey class. It's going to be a very large class. And with this move to the block schedule, we've talked about having study halls. This is an opportunity for students to take an additional elective, get them out of a study hall, and it'll be in a room such as this, running 40 or 50 kids in a class. In computer technology, this is probably the most unique and brand new opportunity for us. We're introducing computer programming, computer science principles, AP, and robotics. We've secured some funding and some staff who are out there getting training throughout the summer and are ready to bring some cutting-edge technologies into our school. So we're very excited to bring these things in. And finally, with regards to our internships, many of the things that you're hearing and reading about as far as 21st century technology involves students going out, getting outside of the classroom, and getting practical experience. This is an opportunity for students who may be interested in becoming teachers. This is a supervised curriculum whereby students will meet as a class. They'll have educational opportunities to talk about pedagogy, group dynamics, social psychology, and then they actually go out into our elementary schools in a practicum setting with observation and then some student teaching. Students who complete this sequence as well will have an opportunity to earn university credit. So while we were not a program review, this is, again, an opportunity to capitalize on a unique experience for the district and to bring all these opportunities to our students. So thank you again for having us.
So, I have the pleasure next of introducing one of our teachers, Dr. actually, I said Mrs., but Dr. Marianne Woods Murphy. She is a woman of many hats. Between being our gifted and talented educator in the district, she also works with our mock trial. She's been working K-12 with questioning and social studies. And this summer, as part of our Superintendent's Advisory Council, she presented with me at the Learning Forward Conference in Princeton, New Jersey. And as part of that, the district was invited to showcase our students and have the rest of the state see a little bit about what Nutley can do. So the first night of the conference, it was very exciting and our pleasure, and Dr. Riley, thank you again for helping with this. But Mr. Vicarello and the jazz band came down, and they performed for the whole conference during the opening reception. I think they got more requests for wedding band, bat mitzvah band, and everything else than anybody I've ever seen. They were amazing. And you'd think that would be good enough, except the second day, during the lunch, our students had an additional opportunity to shine. This conference was unusual in that it was what's called an unconference. It is sessions that grow out of the interests and topics of the people that are attending the conference on, in this case, it was issues of professional development. So our students, and we have two of the three of them here tonight, and you'll see the third student, who's our own Katerina Robles, presentation on video, were able to develop what's called Ignite presentations on a topic of interest to them and present that. And they were so amazing, so wonderful, that we decided that you all had to see them in person, present them. So I'm going to introduce Marianne to introduce our students, and you'll get to see a little bit about what they're thinking about.
It's my pleasure to be here tonight and to offer this opportunity to everyone gathered to hear these students. Ignite talks are very exciting, and I really was introduced to them by Dr. Glazer. They're 5-minute presentations with automatically moving, transitioning slides. So each slide is 15 seconds. So it's a very structured narrative. The students chose their topic. It's completely coming what wells up for them, and they create the arc of the story, and then they perform it. So with that, I'd like to introduce Ronnie Mara. She's a rising 7th grader, and she comes to us from Spring Garden School, graduate of Spring Garden School.
You can turn the lights so you can see.
Yes,
Back
it
up
is.
a little. So you can see the mic.
I need to see.
American children are suffering from something, and it seems to be becoming more and more common. American children are struggling with everyday tasks because of this. American children need help finding a way to stay away from this. What I keep referring to is childhood obesity. Obesity in childhood is growing in America. It is affecting the lives of children every day. Did you know that more people die from obesity than starvation? I have always cared deeply about nutrition and fitness because I have always been very active. When I'm working out and eating right, I feel so much better. It also tends to relieve some of my stress from school sometimes. I soon realized that I wanted others to feel this way too. So I want to tell you a story. It was winter time, and there wasn't much that I could do to stay active. So I decided to come up with an in-school program that teaches students in grades 1 through 4 about fitness and nutrition in a fun and interactive way. I told my parents about my idea right away. I knew they would be interested, as health and fitness is always a topic in our household. They encouraged me to make a plan, set some goals, and put my ideas into motion. I thought that I could do this all on my own, but I knew that I would need a teacher to sponsor me. So I asked my gym teacher. I thought that this would be my biggest hurdle, but he soon agreed to help me. Then the two of us started to plan out some little details. I had emailed my principal requesting to have a meeting with her, as I needed her permission for the club, as well as I had some questions. But let me tell you, this was probably my toughest challenge yet. Getting time to meet with my principal was just so hard. So I tormented my principal's secretary every chance I had, until finally the day came and I was so excited that my principal had agreed to let me have the club. But now I needed to find a way to get participants. So I decided to ask a boy in my grade to help me run the club, as he would attract more boys. He quickly agreed, and then the two of us decided to spread the word on our morning announcements, and I enlisted my younger brother to tell all of his friends. I remember having this fear that on the first day no one would show up and that the club just would be a dud. But I want to tell you something. On the first day we had close to 100 kids, so that fear went away pretty quickly. And at the end of the day, I asked my mom to take me to the store to get a whistle. I had set a goal for myself and I was committed to achieving it. I wanted students in grades 1 through 4 to get 60 minutes of exercise a day. But to me, this meant that by these students doing this every day, they were learning the importance of living a healthy lifestyle. I also introduced to them that having routines to get used to may make this new lifestyle easier by having habits to get used to. For example, eating right in the morning and getting 60 minutes of exercise. I also explained to them here and there, try doing this instead of doing that. I really tried to stress to them that it's all about making the better decisions. And making the better decisions is what's going to make it easier in the end. So I have my reasons why I think everyone should care about nutrition and fitness. One would be you're in such a better mood at the end of the day. 2, you're setting yourself up for good adult habits in life. And 3, you're lessening your chances of becoming one of the many obese children in America. So, before I started my club, I'm sure a lot of my students had no idea why they should care. But today I wanted one of my students to tell you, as well as his sister who will be running the club for me next year. Christian, who is in 1st grade and 2nd grade this year, said, I stay healthy by eating protein to build strong muscles, and I try to get good sleep so I have energy for the day. His sister Riley, who will be running the club for me this year, said, the exercise club is a great way to teach kids to stay healthy and to keep moving. It shows them that being healthy is fun and important. So, what can you do? You can lead by example. Let's say at home your spouse is complaining to you about their weight. Instead of telling them to go to the gym, you can help them by leading by example. So, for example, you can cook together at night. And my brother and I started exercising after school. So I want to give you an example. So let's say there's a piece of fruit in your fruit basket, but then there's also that muffin sitting there and you really want to eat that muffin. But the better decision would be to eat the banana, and your spouse can help you with that. So now you're going to become the leaders right now. So I want everyone to stand up. Your 15-second workout starts right now. So I want everyone to stretch their arms in the air. And now I want everyone to jump up 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Great job, everybody. Keep up the good work at home.
Congratulations, Molly. That was amazing. Thank you. You're inspiring me. Our next presentation is Ileana McClatchy. You can come forward.
She's a graduate of Yantakal School and a rising 7th grader right here in our middle school.
Hello, my name is Ileana McClatchy. My pronouns are she/her, and I'm here to talk to you about gender equality. More specifically, equality for all genders. Now, to those of you who think that gender equality is an irrelevant topic, think again. Gender equality is an important topic, especially as there is no place in the world where women earn more than men. And in places like Finland and Turkey, the wage gap is as high as 21%. And it's not even the highest. Now, if you think I'm just trying to say, oh, women are weak, we're underappreciated, pity us, that's wrong. I'm trying to say the exact opposite. I'm trying to say that women are underappreciated, but I have no clue why. We are strong, we are independent, we are strong-willed, and people underestimate us. We have heroes like Malala and Emma Watson who stand up for our rights. Now, it's not just women either, it's men too. Men are also underappreciated for silly things, such as wearing makeup and not being manly enough, whatever that means. Now, it's boys at a young age who are taught this. By who? None other than society. Now, take this man, for example. Just recently, he was reprimanded at his work. He was told to tone it down. And he responded, "You can't tone down a masterpiece." Take this in mind, keep this in mind. There is no makeup role at his work. He has colleagues with much more distracting appearances, such as red hair and extravagant makeup, and he has never been reprimanded, ever before. Now, even though things like Pride, LGBTQ+ clubs, and P-Flag clubs make me really happy, the thing is, it should be unnecessary. It's not necessary. We should already have this awareness. We shouldn't have to raise it. This is especially important in schools where people are with their peers. They're afraid of judgment and embarrassment, being bullied by others, because they're different, even though they should embrace it. Now, I got my first taste of gender inequality from this book called Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, Hammer of Thor by Rick Riordan. There's this character, Alex Fierro, and they're awesome. They're witty, sarcastic, strong, amazing. Now, when they first meet the main character, they say, "I'm transgender and gender fluid." Now, at the time, I had no clue, believe me, what this meant. And as I read on, I used context clues and figured out that it means that sometimes they identify as a girl, boy, or something in between. Now, I didn't care. I was fine with this. I accepted it. Now, in the next slide, I'm going to read a passage exactly from the text of why it's inequality instead of equality and raising awareness for young people, young teens who are afraid of judgment. The gender thing wasn't what surprised me. A huge percentage of homeless teens I met had been assigned one gender at birth but identified as another, or they felt like the whole boy-girl binary didn't apply to them. They ended up on the streets because, shocker, their families didn't accept them. Nothing says tough love like kicking your kid to the curb so that they can experience abuse, drugs, high suicide rates, and constant physical danger. Now, put yourself in this position. You being afraid of being judged by friends, your peers, people your age. But you mustering up the courage to tell the people who should accept you. And what happens? They kick you to the curb. They make you homeless. Now, when did doing something like a girl become an insult? Because, hey, I'm a girl, and me doing something like a girl, for example, throwing like a girl, to me, it means throwing like myself, putting all my strength behind that throw, being myself, using my strength. Now, it has affected me before, and I am a girl. Someone said to me when I was younger, "Oh, you run like a girl." And I was really confused because, sure, I run like a girl because I am a girl, but their tone implied something different. Now, to those of you who are standing up for our rights, being strong, raising awareness, you are stronger, braver, and smarter than anyone else who has ever put you down. In conclusion, now, imagine girl is all the way over there, and boy is over here. In conclusion, no freedom until we are equal. Thank you.
The next presentation is a video presentation by Karen Robles, who I know is a beloved member of this board and graduated and started college today.
And the pressure to succeed are all direct consequences of the pressure of time. The limitation of time is omnipresent to all of us. So the question then arises, what will we do with it? As students and as adults, we are pressured by society to have the best resume, to fill it up with the best positions, titles, clubs, extracurriculars as we can, so that we can be attractive to employers and college. Who here has either given that advice or has been given to them? Anyone? Oh yeah. So it's a good advice as long as it's done with the right intention. To do it with passion, to do it with meaning. Often this intention becomes skewed, and it ends up being something that is just for the position and the title. What becomes important is no longer what we do with this and what we do with the time. It becomes what's written on a resume, the words on a piece of paper, and then stepping stones towards perceived success. This success is not real success. Mind the word perceived. There's a void that we get filled with, that really we're not doing anything with our limited time here, except trying to look good for the wrong reasons. So this is something that all of us can really break away from. And this is something that I learned on my time at high school and middle school, growing up and all that. So I want to take you on this journey with me as to how I found out what true success really is. So when I was a freshman going into high school, I was given the advice that join as many things as you can. You have to take this as an opportunity, a running start, so that college will see you like awesome and all that. And so I did that. And it kind of became, again, limitation of time, like very, very overwhelming, right? So I had to pick and choose what I actually wanted to do. And all the clubs I signed up for, I would actually walk down different hallways when they had meetings because I stopped attending them and I was very embarrassed. So
here tonight, but these young ladies' parents and family, brothers, sisters, cousins, exchange student from Belgium, all came down to Princeton to support them too. So just like you're all here tonight, we're grateful for that. Thank you for bringing them down this summer too. Well, we'll take a quick picture. Everybody, you guys want those?
Marion, when are you going to introduce?
You stay in the front, we'll get behind you. Marion, you can stay in front. You gotta scooch in. You gotta scooch in.
No, you're good. Go in more. Okay.
Just scooch.
Perfect.
All right, keep going, you still got more. Take your time. Anybody else? Thank you.
All right, before we get to the Superintendent and Board Secretary's report, I just wanted to give an update from our July meeting. Nutley Board of Education is still continuing its process of discussions with bond counsel, our architects, and attorneys regarding the future school board referendum. Our goal is that our direction be finalized by our next board meeting on September 11, 2017 at 6:30 here in the middle school. Our closed session this evening will allow the board to review and discuss additional information to help us understand and deliver to the public the remaining steps in the referendum process. We realize this process at times can be cumbersome and slow, but the Nutley Board of Education continues to remain accountable to our children and our community. Although we cannot place certainty in all outcomes, we are hopeful that our process and transparency translates to the best long-term outcome for all of us here in Nutley. Thank you. We're going to move on over to the superintendent's report.
I was going to say, you guys are welcome to stay and listen, but you can also sneak out and walk around us, I promise.
We only allow 15 seconds for that.
Have a wonderful, wonderful opening of the school. So, for those of you that are still with us, again, good evening. Thank you. You were here on a good night to see some wonderful stuff as we kick off the new year. And again, thank you for joining us. It has been a very busy August. You saw from our students how we started off the month, and you heard about our curriculum development. But we also welcomed our new staff and our second-year teachers in our orientations and held mentor meetings, all organized by Kent Vigna and Janine Loconsolo with the assistance of our leadership team. I would also like to recognize Lindsay Council, our HR administrative assistant, who we couldn't get through any of our hiring without. Thanks for staying tonight, too. The days were really wonderful days featuring a bus tour hosted by our own athletic director, Joe Pyro, discussions of the teacher evaluation framework, presentations on security, and presentations from our Teachers Association, as well as benefit information and a lunch sponsored by our insurance provider, IMEC. We were also able to welcome our students to the John Walker Middle School and our freshmen to the Nutley High School this week. And I have to tell you, I am so grateful for a faculty that's excited to have the students back in the buildings. It's really not the same place without the kids, and our enthusiasm, all of our enthusiasm for having them back is palpable. I will be welcoming the faculty and staff on Tuesday morning. And just a reminder, there is a half day for students next Wednesday and Thursday, and next Friday is the first full day for students. Now, much of my time this month
has been spent monitoring enrollment and making some incredibly difficult decisions regarding variances in class size. As you've heard me say repeatedly over the last year, our elementary schools are at capacity and then some. We've had more than 130 requests for variances. That means requests for students to attend other than their home school. In addition to the variance requests, and I hope you are all sitting down and holding on to your seat for this, we've had an additional 146 new registrants to the district in K-12 between July 1st and today. I'm going to tell you that we have more coming. I've continued to prioritize providing variances to those siblings of special education students first of all. We talked about that last summer. For example, at Lincoln School, we had 34 variance requests. 20 of those were for siblings. And honestly, by calling several parents, convincing them to rescind their requests if they were only based on class size or things that we couldn't attend to, such as, you know, that's where I grew up, that's where I went to school. We were able to honor most of those requests. We also allowed 3 of the 7 families we displaced last year, meaning families that were not able to be in their home school at registration because there was no more room. We allowed them to stay at the schools where we registered them, again, not their home school. And by doing that, I was able to meet all of the requests for special education sibling placements. Additionally, I was able to grant requests to 3 staff members. Those staff members pay 50% tuition to have their children attend our schools as part of the collective bargaining agreement we have with the teachers. One of those requests was for a new kindergarten registration, and while the student will be joining us, not at the kindergarten requested. I was not able to honor a staff member's request to enroll a child in pre-K. The family didn't participate in our lottery. We have a long waiting list, and it was not possible to create a spot for that child. Additionally, I was able to maintain our students whose families moved in 4th or 5th grade, so they were able to graduate with their class in 5th and 6th grade. And I will say with that, our biggest challenge is the siblings of those older students, right? They've been in the schools for a couple of years in our general education program, and sometimes we have a request for a kindergarten variance when the siblings in 6th grade. That is a challenge. I was not able to grant most of those requests, but in the few instances I was able to grant a variance. I did reiterate that the requests are reviewed on a yearly basis, and there's a pretty good chance we're not going to be able to honor the variance requests next year. We did have to expand a section of kindergarten at Radcliffe School, and at this point all families with requests have been notified. The parent portal for the middle school and high school is already open, and for our elementary students that portal does open tomorrow afternoon, so you'll be able to know what homeroom your student's in and the name of their teacher. As you can probably imagine, this is challenging not only for the families, but for the principals and the teachers who've remained in flux this close to the opening of the school year. And unfortunately, as I said, we're not done yet. We've already had to displace 4 families from their home schools, and we still have pre-registration appointments scheduled for an additional 48 students in grades K to 12. 7 of those are in pre-K, where there is a waiting list, 28 at the elementary school level, 6 at John Walker Middle School, and 7 at the high school. As of today, we have a number of sections closed in all 5 of our elementary schools. At Lincoln School, 3rd and 5th grade is closed, and 2nd grade only has 2 spots. At 1st and 4th grade only have 6 spots left at Lincoln School. At Radcliffe School, 1st, 5th, and 6th grade is closed. We did add a section of kindergarten. Spring Garden, 1st grade is closed. Washington School, grades 1 and 2 have 2 spots left. No, grade 1 has 2 spots left, grade 2 has 4 spots left. At Yanakaw School, kindergarten is closed, and grade 2 has 1 spot left. Now, our guidelines for closing those sections are based on state guidelines for class size, kindergartens being at a 20, 1st and 2nd grade being at 22, third grade at 23, fourth grade about 24, fifth and sixth grade being at 25. I am going to tell you that first grade at Radcliffe and at other schools as well, but first grade at Radcliffe we're both at 23. My fifth grade at Radcliffe is at 26. I am out of space. I am going to just take a minute because I cannot recognize our registrars, Natty Ferreira and Jean Boyle, and our assistant, Ronnie Mara, enough. They have spent countless hours tracking these kids in and out of schools, making sure they were at the right school. They have had tremendous patience navigating this process and helping our families who, as you can imagine, are frustrated that it's not as easy just to go to the school across the street. As I've been saying throughout the past year, we're at a critical point. As Mr. Carnicella just mentioned, we in the Nutley Board of Education are continuing the process of discussions with our bond council, architects, and attorneys regarding a future school board referendum. And as Mr. Carnicella said, our goal is that we announce and have our direction finalized by the next board meeting, September 11th, right here in this room. I encourage each of you, truly each and every one of you, to stay involved, stay engaged in the discussions, to continue to participate in the process. With your involvement, with your feedback, we can only continue to move forward with the momentum that the district's experienced and continue to help us enhance our students' experiences. On another note, as a fitting end to the summer and an honor to Labor Day, the district will close at 12:30 on Friday. Get everything done that you need done before 12:30. And we will wish you all, faculty, staff, administrators, kids, parents, no cheering yet, parents, not until Wednesday, a relaxing and rejuvenating long weekend. We are looking forward to seeing the staff on Tuesday, all of our students on Wednesday, for the opening of another exemplary Nutley school. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move over to our board secretary report, Mrs. Yates.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to recognize our entire buildings and grounds staff. We had a general meeting that takes place once a year this morning, and the superintendent and I were both able to thank them individually at that meeting, but I would like to recognize them again for all of their efforts. They have been working tremendously over this summer to get all of the buildings ready. You can see by those beautiful floors that you walked on this evening to get to this room just how much care they have taken into preparing each and every building that looks like this to welcome back the students and the staff. We have done a couple of taken care of a couple of security issues and building issues over the summer, like the brand new entrance steps at Lincoln School, new sidewalks around Radcliffe School to enhance the safety area for the students. Around Booth Drive, we have put in new curbing and sidewalks, so we put a tremendous focus on that, as well as repairing several floors in various buildings that were in desperate need. We've done a lot of upgrades over at the high school, so everything is ready to rock and roll. Teaching materials are in the classrooms. We have expanded our one-to-one Chromebook initiative. We are now doing grades 6 through 8. The transportation department and all of our buses are ready to roll. And as you can see by tonight's agenda, the business department has been extremely busy. We are approving bills totaling $6.3 million that we've processed in the past month. Also on tonight's agenda, I'd like to recognize some of the donations that the district has received. And you can also see the numerous requests for building use that have come in from community organizations and the PTOs. And we also are approving the bid award for food service equipment
for a total of $59,000, and that will help to provide additional food service area in the gymnasium at the high school to accommodate the block schedule, where all the students will be having lunch at a common period. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Okay, so we're going to move towards our committee reports. We're going to start off with our academic report. Mr. Balsamo.
Thank you, Mr. President. The academic committee met yesterday, August 30th. At the meeting, Mr. Banya and Ms. Loconsolo reviewed the district's mentoring plan and discussed new teacher orientation, which ran August 21st to the 23rd. Dr. Riley reported to us just the same as he did tonight, the same with Mrs. Benavides for English Language Arts curriculum. And Mr. Banya presented on small changes to the science curriculum, as well as a new option 2 self-directed experiential learning plan. And finally, Dr. Glazer reported on field trips, professional development requests, as well as reviewing our proposed Board of Ed goals for the 2017-2018 year. And our next meeting is September 14th, 2017.
Thank you, Mr. Balsamo. Move over to Mr. Kaczynski for our administration report.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration met on August the 21st. The committee discussed the status of enrollment and variances for the 2017-18 school year. All families have been notified about their placement. The committee also discussed the administrator's contract and upcoming ratification. The committee reviewed the proposed BOE and district goals prior to their approval on the board agenda for this evening. Requests for support for renovation to the crew house in Kearney were also discussed. Dr. Glazer also reviewed several legal and personal items. Our next scheduled meeting is for September 18th.
Thank you, Mr. Kaczynski. Move over to finance, Mr. Ferrara.
Yes, Mr. President. Our Finance Committee met on August 22nd. Mr. Nicolette updated the committee on the ongoing summer work and projects throughout the district. Mr. Nicolette advised that the high school door lock installations are 96% complete. The committee reviewed the high school curb replacement project along Route Drive, as well as the Lincoln School front steps. The committee discussed the need for a tree trimming throughout the district and the assistance from the Parks and Rec Department to complete that work. Mr. Nicolette also updated the committee on the new state mandates to install carbon monoxide monitors in the school. And I must note that this is yet again one of those unfunded mandates. And he has determined that we will need 300 monitors throughout the district. Tonight's finance agenda resolutions were reviewed with the committee. Mr. Mara explained the transfer request and the committee discussed the donations and contracts. Mrs. Yeamans reviewed the results of the food service equipment bid, which is on tonight's agenda. And this equipment is needed to add an additional food service area in the high school small gym to accommodate the common lunch period. Mrs. Yeamans also updated the committee on the variance hearing for our proposed bus lot, which is set for September 18th. And our next meeting, it will take place on September 19th.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrara. We're going to move over to policy. Ms. Dantek-Martin.
Thank you. The committee met on August 30th. Mr. Banya and Ms. Loconsolo reviewed a number of administrative policies and proposed updates. With the exception of the policy on tonight's agenda, the committee decided to table some of the administrative policies that were included in the draft Board of Education agenda, which you may have seen online, to verify the updates we were presenting for the first reading. The committee also reviewed the bylaws and prioritized the policies for consideration for our next Board of Education meeting. Dr. Glazer reviewed the committee policy spreadsheet and status of assignments for initial review, and the committee's next meeting is scheduled for September 14th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Dantek-Martin. We now come to the portion of our meeting where we allow members of the public to address the board. In this section, we allow questions or comments on only the resolutions addressed in tonight's agenda. Our board regulation 601 allows 20 minutes for these communications. Each person shall be limited to 3 minutes as we ask you to try to stay within this requirement. Speakers may speak more than once only after others wishing to speak on a topic have been heard. All statements will be directed to me as the chairperson, and no one may address the board individually. Please be reminded that if your statement is too lengthy, abusive, obscene, irrelevant, or redundant, your participation may be terminated. Please remember to always state your name and address each and every time you address the board, and sign in with Mrs. Kakuza before you take the microphone. Will the first person wishing to be heard, please come on down.
Donna Ferraro, 34 Roosevelt Street. Just questioning the approval of a pilot program of the Safe Arrival at Nutley School, High School. What is that on the agenda item?
I can answer that. I'm happy to answer that. With the switch to the rotating drop, our high school tenants office is investigating an app that provides two-way communication from parents to school and school to parents instead of the one-way robocall we currently have. We're working with a company. They gave us a 50% discount to try to start high school for this year, and we thought that would benefit kids.
Okay, that's
Sure.
thank you.
Anyone else wishing to be heard? Seeing none. Let's see, Mr. Balsamo, would you take academic, please?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to move academic resolutions 1 through 7 as written.
Discussion?
Page 3, number 6. Under Claremont Center, Belleville, Township, Nutley, Mayor Petrarca's office. Is it Mayor Scarpelli's office or is it Commissioner Petrarca's office? It's not really.
Which one are we talking about?
It's also number
Page
6.
3, number 6.
Mayor
So this is a list of where our students who are participating in this transition program will go. I think you might remember we had a couple of agendas last year where we created opportunities and we put them on a board agenda so they didn't need to do a field trip permission slip every single time they went. So our students are going to the township to all of these offices.
Okay, so the
We
question
get that.
so
But
the
I
question-
see
the
where it
question
says,
is-
I see
okay.
where there's a typo.
So
I just saw where there's.
can we make the correction on the resolution?
It is Mayor Scarpelli.
It should just say Mayor's office.
It should just say mayor's
Mayor's
office.
office. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Mr. Booth.
Mr. Balsamo?
Yes.
Mrs. Dinchak Morton?
Yes.
Mr. Ferraro?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Ms. Russo?
Yes.
Mr. Scalera?
Yes.
Ms. Sherman?
As amended, yes.
Mr. Carnasella?
Yes. Mr. Scalera, would you take administration, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move administration resolutions 1 through 5 as written.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, Mr. Booth.
Mr. Balsamo?
Yes.
Mrs. Dinchak Morton?
Yes.
Mr. Ferraro?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Ms. Russo?
Yes.
Mr. Scalera?
Yes.
Ms. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Carnasella?
Yes. Mr. Ferraro, would you take finance resolutions 1 through 20? Could you just recognize resolution 7, which I believe are the acceptance of donations?
Mr. President, I make a motion to move finance resolutions 1 through 20 as written.
And could
So
you just... Okay. Discussion? Okay, I'm just going to go through the acceptance of the donations. If everybody has a packet, number 7, be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the following donations. $160 was a donation from Mr. Robert Martin to Nutley High School. $16,665.96 was a donation from the Nutley Booster Music Club to go towards the new band uniforms. $100 donation from Kathleen Marie for school supplies for Washington School. $4,548.77 donation from IKEA of furnishings and products to the Nutley High School for the Life Skills Learning Experience. $300 donation of 2 couches for the John Walker Middle School Teachers Cafeteria from the church. $607.60 donation from the NEF Learning Tree for chairs, socks, draw and write touchpad, Kinetic Century sand, seat sacks, and resistant bands. Any other discussion? Roll call, Mr. Cruzen.
Mr. Balsamo?
Yes.
Mrs. Dinchak Morton?
Yes.
Mr. Ferraro?
Yes to 1 through 18, abstaining on 19, yes to 20.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Ms. Russo?
Yes.
Mrs. Scalera?
Yes.
Ms. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Carnasella?
Yes. Mr. Scalera, would you move personnel, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move personnel resolutions 1 through 2 as well.
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Kukuza?
Mr. Balsamo?
Yes.
Mrs. Dancheck Morton? Yes. Mr. Ferrara?
Yes to 1, abstaining to 2, but not for personal reasons.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Ms. Russo?
Yes.
Mrs. Scalera?
Yes.
Ms. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Carnasella?
Yes. Okay. In this section, we allow questions or comments on all school-related matters. Our regulation allows for 30 minutes for these communications. Again, each person shall be limited to 3 minutes, and we ask that you try to stay within this requirement. As stated earlier, all statements will be directed to me as a chairperson, and no one may address the board members individually. Please be reminded that if your statement is too lengthy, abuse of obscene, irrelevant, or redundant, your participation may be terminated. Please remember to always state your name and address each and every time you address the board, and sign in with Mrs. Kukuza before you take the microphone. Will the first person wishing to be heard, please?
I follow directions. Terry Quirk, 45 Hampton Place, spokesperson for the Nutley Parent Advocacy Network. I just have some questions in regards to the block schedule lunch. It's just to get things a little clearer. What actually is the time frame from when it starts to when it finishes?
11 o'clock to 12 o'clock.
11 to 12. And how many students can be seated in the high school cafeteria?
Well, we have 2 seating spaces, so all of them could be.
Really?
We have an alternative seating space. I don't know, do you want to talk about how
Yeah,
it's
our gymnasium will be converted into a seating place with the bleachers and tables being set up to accommodate the food services. Students can also be in various places located throughout the hallway, in our courtyard, on nice days outside as well.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Let's just say it's a nice day and everybody's out, okay? Here's the question that we have. In the case of, it's right across the street from fire, the fire department. In the case of, if there's a problem, if there's a fire truck coming in, will there be any more police on scene just to make sure that there's no problems with pedestrians and problems with traffic and that type of thing? Will there be more police officers assigned?
We have a full complement of police officers assigned. There are 5 at the various locations, plus crossing guards.
Right.
So remember that we're doing this for the first time next week, and it is a work in progress, honestly. So I think that we need to be mindful of all of the different dynamics, and I think that we'll monitor and adjust as we go along.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I asked the incumbent. I think that's it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard?
As I brought to your attention last month, and I wanted to know if you came to a resolution about the substitutes and how they were getting paid when it is a half-day professional day or half-day in general. Did you come to a vote with the board or
We didn't need
a
to come to a
resolution?
vote, but
So we did look into the issue, and what is more than likely going to happen on those days is that they will be here expected to be here for the full day, paid for a full day, and they will be given other responsibilities and other related work to do.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to protect the people that are here, and that was my question.
I took the note. I made sure I checked with them both before we started the meeting. I said, we have that substitute issue here.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to be heard? to come before the board? Any new business to come before the board? Whereas the Board of Education will be discussing matters exempt from public discussion concerning NJSA 10:4-12. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education recess and close executive session at this time to discuss student matters, personnel, property acquisition, and contracts with respect to property leases. Be it further resolved that the results of the discussions will be made public by inclusion on the agenda of the subsequent meeting of the Board of Education, or when the reasons for discussing such matters in closed session